Shalom, Israel. Today I just kind of wanted to address some of the things that are going on in the black community and pretty much propose a solution for a lot of the things that we're facing in our day-to-day struggles. First thing is, you have to understand that if you follow these guidelines, I'm pretty sure black people will be delivered from our situation and our circumstances. Okay, so first thing first is men have to take responsibility for the things that happen to them. Men have to take responsibility for them. You can't blame women. You can't blame white people or anything else. You have to take responsibility for the things that we're facing as a community. At some point, we're gonna have to stop pointing fingers and point it back at ourselves. So, with that being said, what does that philosophy mean when you apply it to the whole grand scheme of things? I'm not mad at white people or Europeans or African or the African nations or the Arab nations for capturing our forefathers and selling them into slavery. I'm mad at our forefathers for not being strong enough, for not building the defenses enough, for not building women and men, young boys and young girls, and teaching them and raising them and rearing them to be strong, powerful people of God, to stand their ground against all forms of tyranny, the evil that come their way. When you have a prosperous society, you become decadent, and decadence leads to deviance, and deviance leads to destruction. So that's what happens when you have a successful group of people. So that's what it means for I accept responsibility for the condition that our people are in and are in today. So what do we have to do? Okay, so if we take the boys and the men and they take responsibility for the things that they're going through, then that means that we have to teach young men, young boys, what it means to be a man, and also teach them how to identify a good woman, a good place to plant their seed so that they can have a family. Okay, because at the end of the day, women, not men, pay the consequences for having a lot of sex. Men go around planting their seeds in all these women and leaving them. So we need men to identify these good women. The thing is, right, women typically in this today and age really aren't good. Most women aren't good. So we need to teach men how to find the ones that are good, the ones that are trying to build our community, they are trying to come together and grow. Men need to identify those women and stop acting like boys and reacting off of their immediate emotions, right? So once we do that, once we teach boys how to be men and how to identify what a good woman looks like, the next thing we need to come up with is an identity. We need to come up with another way to identify ourselves, because we need to segregate ourselves from America, and we also need to segregate ourselves from other ignorant Negroes, men and women and children, who simply do not want to walk in accordance with the righteousness, with what we're trying to do. You're always, in every group of people, there's people that want to bring you down. So the next thing that we need to do is find a way to segregate ourselves from even our own people, the people amongst us who want to destroy us. Okay? Not all the Hebrews left Egypt. Some of them stayed. So we need to, that's why I say, even if it's Israel, Judah, whatever you want to call yourself, you call yourself Israel or Judah, and you segregate yourself from people who are called themselves black, simply because you know that their knowledge and understanding is not in accordance with yours. Y'all aren't going to walk on one accord. And that's why I think what the Most High is doing is so beautiful, what he's doing with our people. You know, if there's a black person, if they're not in this specific truth that we have, they're not going to identify as Israel. So the Most High is already creating this divide to say, I want y'all over here and y'all over here. If you call yourself Israel or Judah, specifically with the Negroes, then you know you can come on one accord. As we both know, we believe in Scripture. We both have a law, statute, and commandments, and a way of life where we can coexist and prosper together. We can segregate ourselves from people who don't stand for nothing, people who want to be in the ways of this world, people who are a part of that self-destructive mentality. We can segregate ourselves from them. So it's really two easy steps. If blacks anywhere do these two steps, we will be delivered from our situation. You understand? If we teach young boys how to be men and how to identify what a good woman looks like, and we come up with a new identity to segregate ourselves from those amongst us who do not want to change and wants to stay in the ways of this world, we will then have a mass exodus and be separated from all those who want to bring us down, especially within our own community. So it's up to I already see the Most High moving, and I know that's what's gonna happen. But the choice is yours. Rather, you want to adopt the plan and fall in line. If you're a woman, the best thing you can do is to be a good woman and to also know what a good man looks like. You want to know what a good man looks like, and the reason why I say I deal with the men and the young boys is because maybe not this generation, but once you breed up and bring up and rear up the next generation, these women won't have to look far to understand what a good man looks like, because it's going to be her father, it's going to be her uncle, it's going to be her brother, it's going to be her cousins, older cousins, it's going to be her neighbors, it's going to be men around her. Maybe not in this generation. Maybe your father really wasn't a part of your life. Maybe your father wasn't there. So the best thing I can say to you is find a close family friend or somebody who's married, and talk to a married man. Of course, make sure his wife is present. Don't try to talk to him in private or anything. And make sure it's somebody that's close to your family, a close family or friend, maybe a neighbor, and talk to that man and get him to give you the knowledge and understanding that you may need to have a better discernment and judgment, and how to recognize when a man might not be good, tries to approach you. So that's why I say, if we can bring up men, the next generation, when they have daughters, they're going to be able to teach their daughters what a good man looks like, so she'll have that discernment. And then they'll teach their sons what a good woman looks like, so he'll have that discernment, and then they'll find each other. You get what I'm saying? So in the end, I don't want to put the responsibility on the women. If the women want to adopt and take up a responsibility within this agenda, that's fine. I'm not going to, if someone is casting out devils in the name of Christ, we don't have to believe exactly the same thing. I see your fruit. If you're a woman and you want to empower other women and even empower young men, give them what are you doing? All right, man, come on. Go get your ball, man. But yeah, if you want to empower other women, I'm not going to stop you. I think that's a beautiful thing. If you want to show young men, be a living, breathing example of what a young man or what a man should look for, I'm not going to stop you. That falls in line with the plan. But the number one agenda needs to be is to teach these young boys how to be powerful, confident, strong black men that believe in themselves and that believe in a God, that believe they have a purpose and a drive in this world. We got to give our young men purpose, a sense of being. Okay? And the second thing that we need to do is we need to segregate and separate ourselves from not only the corrupt in our own community, but also this nation and this world, because they are poison to us. Another thing is why I typically don't want to focus on the women is because society and everything that's evil and corrupted around us is targeted towards corrupting the minds of women. It's so hard to break through. Like, if you're a woman and you've come to this understanding, this knowledge, if you're a woman and you have a relationship with the Most High, with God, you are truly blessed, because everything in this world is trying to attack you and destroy everything that you are. And the fact that you broke through this barrier, I think it takes a lot more mental strength. Women have to show a lot more mental strength in this corrupt society than a man does, because they tempt you with how you're supposed to look, makeup, fashion, everything, and it destroys your confidence. Especially a black woman, especially a young black woman, she has to go through so much mental torment to pull that tries to pull her into the world and corrupt her mind. So if you're one of those women that broke free of that snare, like, all praises to the Most High. But unfortunately, most women and most men fall fall for this trap. They fall for this trap, and it's a harder pull on the women. So really, it's a harder pull. The men, you know, they know that if they can corrupt the woman, you're going to do whatever it takes to impress that corrupted woman, and you're going to end up doing something that leads to you either destroying yourself, destroying your friends, or ended up in jail. Okay, so, you know, they know once they get the woman and they corrupt her mind, she's going to lead the men. And the women are going to be chasing after these corrupted men, because once you start corrupting one, the other, it feeds into the other. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm not going to try to play what came first, the chicken or the egg, who 50-50. I'm not playing none of that 50-50 crap. The men, wise men, you need to take up a young boy and mentor him. Young men need to be mentored. Young men need to be shepherded so they can become decent men when they get older. They need to become protectors and providers and have a sense of belonging and nationality. Separate ourselves from, you know, all the stuff that you see in the world, you know, the rap and the everything, you know, that's negative in the black community. Let them have it. Let them twerk, let them do drugs, let them do whatever they're going to do. Let them just have it. That's not who we are. We need to separate. Let them get corrupted, and they're going to pay. They're going to pay. They're going to reap what they sow. We can't be there when they do. If you can't be there when they do. So your best bet is to find like-minded people, cling on to them, and separate. Even if it's your father or your mother or your cousin or your aunt, even if it's, sadly, your wife, your girlfriend, your husband, if they not trying to ride out and try to build this community up, if they don't believe in God the same way you do, you got to leave them, because y'all not going to come on one accord. If you really love your God, I mean, maybe if y'all don't have maybe y'all could compromise. But when it comes to as a collective, as a nation of people, we're going to have to be on one accord. So there's going to be something. We can't compromise, because we're building something from the ground up. Everybody needs to be on one accord. So, you know, just take that with you. Let me know how y'all feel about that. But that's the solution I have for everything that's going on in the black community: the drugs, the gangs, the crime, the murder, the prostitution, the pedophilia, all of that trash is gonna disappear in a few generations if we can raise and rear young black men to be good black men, and how to recognize good black women, and how to segregate and separate ourselves from evil black men, evil black women, evil world, evil nation, everything. Go off and buy some property somewhere. Build. Start over if you have to. Somebody got to suffer. We're in this situation today because our forefathers were too afraid to suffer for our sake. And now we're in the same position, and now we're making the same mistake. Too afraid to suffer for our children. Too afraid to suffer for our neighbors' children. Too afraid to suffer for God and his sake. And you know what I'm saying? Like, black people need to stop being afraid of dying. I know it's easier said than done, but you need to build a relationship with God and be sure of what's on the other side waiting for you, or you always going to fear dying. Once you know God, once you build a relationship with the Most High, you understand that this ain't it. And when you have a full confidence in that, you walk differently, you operate differently. And that's the fearlessness that black people need. That's why I've been talking about God, because believing in a God gives you a sense of fearlessness that is incomprehensible to someone who's atheist or who doesn't, you know what I'm saying? It's a sense of fearlessness because you're fighting for something greater than yourself. The closest thing that they try to create and mimic that is a king or a government, but you know it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same. That's why I say you need black men who aren't afraid to die. We need God. That's why we need God. We need God so we can die with honor and dignity, fighting for what we believe in. We need God to give us a sense of being and belonging and purpose. That's one of the things they did when they conquered us. They took our God away. I don't care if people don't believe in my God. Just understand they took our God away because they wanted us to fear their God and to fear them and to fear death, so we cling on to life. All the people who had a strong relationship with God jumped off the boat and drowned in the ocean. I pray I could only have that type of conviction one day. You know, I pray I do. I wish I did. A lot of the great men in this world are afraid to die. We're already dead. Our children, our great grandchildren don't remember us who we did. I don't remember my great grandfather, but I know he did everything he could to make my life better and to bring me forth into this world. But I don't know him. Our family history is lost. And maybe my great grandchildren won't remember me, but I don't care. I want to fight for them. And you should want to fight for yours. You are already dead and forgotten. They don't know who I am. In the future, they're already alive, hopefully prospering. Grandpa, great grandpa, who is that? It don't matter to me. The only person you should try to impress is the Most High. Once you get a relationship with the Most High, a lot of this worldly stuff, material stuff that they try to give you, it ain't gonna sell. It's not gonna sell. But just putting that out there. I hope that it causes the shift of this change that needs to happen maybe a little bit faster. But that's all that I got for today. I'll talk to you all soon. I love you all. Shalom.